wider Premier League, the 115ers are busy, aren't they? I mean, Jack Grealish, he ain't going, is he? He's not going to that Club World Cup. He's going to find a club. And also, spending a lot of his time on a sunbed in Ibiza, messaging people on social media to talk sport posts and different things, which is a little bit tragic the way it's gone for him, isn't it? But don't feel too sorry for City or him, because he'll get a deal. Villa are apparently trying to sort that out for a loan, as we've mentioned. City are also doing moves. We're expecting, I mean, not any second, but before this first window closes, we're expecting Aïnouri to join. We're expecting Reinders as well. We're expecting Rayan Cherki. I mean, I don't know if anyone saw the interview the other night. He all but confirmed it, didn't he, realistically, the way he said it. But naturally, once we've got these Nations League games out the way, which is Sunday, isn't it, for the third, fourth place, and the winner, things will probably accelerate for a lot of these players. And the clue will also be, are they in the lineup as well? I mean, Kirkes, funnily enough, has a quote-unquote knock, doesn't he? So there's that to consider. We'll see if any big money moves for any of these players maybe cause them to have a niggle or anything as such. But on City's business, probably one of the few summers when you've looked at City and gone, we're bigger than you, lads, in terms of the business itself. As in Cherki, Verts off Wish.com. As in Reinders, talented going forward, real question marks over going the other way. I don't think personally would get in our midfield. Aïnouri, I actually think, is a good player. Kirkes, Liverpool have picked Kirkes over Aïnouri. So there's just those nice little bits to City's business, isn't it, at the same time? And I don't know why people have got so excited for Cherki. I think that volley and all the talk recently has got people excited and hyper-inflating his talent. But honestly, I've seen some people going, oh, I don't know if I'd want Cherki. Like, they're not comparable. Verts is just a level above. So not at all sad around City's business. For them down the East Lancs Road, it's kind of funny a little bit, isn't it? Because they got Kuna done, and it was quite clear that they wanted Bruno Fernandes to go. We never bought into this whole, like, oh, they really wanted him to stay. They didn't. We know their financial situation. They would have loved the 100 million lump sum. That would have, helped them out big time for this summer. I'm not being funny. They're not bad players. I don't subscribe to this whole just because they're United players now or about to be United players, they're bad. But Kuna, we know he's a bit of a mentalist, isn't he? And the stuff he does. That's why he's at United. And now Brian Mbuemo, as it came up today from Fabrizio, again, in direct club-to-club contact, this second proposal, 45 million plus 10 million rejected, as United are ready to get closer to Kuna valuation. Well, Kuna was 62.5 million quid, wasn't he? So if they spend that, I mean, for United to have spent 125 million, and we know the financial issues we have, or they have, sorry, at United just now. Woof. Now, so where do they balance that comes the other question. And I don't think there's much surprise in this as we say it. A lot of journalists we spoke to, they're fielding offers for Garnacho as we speak. Did you see him on the tour where he was just disinterested? You saw Ruben Amorim laughing at him, didn't you, for all the different bits he was doing and the questions around him. So he is clearly going to depart. The other one, though, that quite a few journalists are mentioning to us as well, Kobbie Mainoo. That Kobbie Mainoo will be sold for the right offer. If you speak to quite a few journalists in and around United, they're adamant about that. So that's maybe one to keep an eye on in terms of balancing the books. They're trying to get rid of Højlund was the other one that's been mentioned. I mean, Inter Milan in for Højlund. What is a club that's just got to the Champions League final and going to be in the Champions League again, sniffing around Højlund? But that is a discussion for a different day. And a few are mentioning there, absolutely. The wages that Mbuemo is asking for, people. I mean, 200 grand plus. A good player. I don't want to say, good, bad. We don't work like that. But yeah, overperforming XG, as in a typical United signing. So we'll see what develops with this one. I wish Trev was here for this one, because Sweeney Todd looks like he is ramping up on a potential madness again. They've got Liam Delap. They've got Liam Delap on a 6+ 1 year deal. That's 7-year option. That's why they've beaten the 6 other competitors, as David Ornstein and others have mentioned, because of the wages and the deal. So that's one in the door. They're also, as we said last week, and we checked again, got it tonight earlier, absolutely the front runners still for Hugo Ekitike. In fact, a few journalists did suggest to us there will be zero surprise if that's completed or advances by the end of window 1. So yeah, Chelsea, Ekitike, red hot favourites. I know that'll disappoint a few Reds there, and we have had absolutely a look at Hugo Ekitike. We continue to be linked, but just being honest on the info we've got, it is a case that our info is Chelsea are right at the front there as well. You can see it on the screen as well that this one from Sky Sports and a few other sources, Chelsea have been offered the chance to sign Mohamed Kudos. Now, a lot of people early in the summer, us, from the info we had, expected that the Saudis would come in for Kudos, but he doesn't seem keen on that at all. And now it seems Chelsea are right there at the front of the queue. And in typical Sweeney Todd style, as it says there, with the Hammers inquiring about the availability of Robert Sanchez, who worked with Graham Potter at Brighton. Also that we had from a few journalists that Chelsea have said to West Ham, who would you like in exchange? How about Chalobah? How about Kieran Dewsbury Hall? Or how about our training ground or other stately homes we can offer up? That literally Chelsea are just doing what Sweeney Todd does all the time. And I mentioned Chalobah there. I mean, if you think the humiliation they put him through last summer, do you remember when he was changing at the bloody Pure Gym and everything like that? They banished him because they were trying to get him removed. Then he goes to Crystal Palace late on. And now he comes back. He does well. And how's he rewarded? Lad's back on the market. So Chelsea, yeah, Sweeney Todd may just be gearing up for a madness. We'll have to see what develops on that. Trev will be ultimately sad to have missed that segment. I have no doubts about it. He'll be sad to miss this one as well. This isn't the Forest of 2 years ago when we had about 26,000 in and 87,000 outs, but they're batch cooking, ladies and gents, Nottingham Forest, aren't they? And John Textor's involved. Multi-club clubs, multi-club owners working together. I'm going to pronounce his name wrong, but is it Mavropanos, I think it's pronounced, the Forest and Olympiacos owner, working with Textor here. They have linked up. Thinking, what am I talking about? Well, they're signing 3 from Botafogo, aren't they? Igor Jesus is probably the best known, I'd say, of those, and a young centre-half, a young left-back, for around 35 million euros. So there's 3 coming in to Forest there to boost their Europa campaign for next year. Why am I talking about John Textor? Because we all know he owns Lyon. We all know the financial mess they're in. After talks between Mavropanos and Textor, there's 3 going across one way, and Mavropanos is sending 2 back to him, people, because Matt Turner, that US goalkeeper at Forest, and Danilo are set to move dirt cheap to Lyon. That's the plan. Whether it can all bear out, I don't know if Lyon are on some sort of transfer ban at the moment, but that is their talk they're having at the moment. So, yeah, Mavropanos and John Textor have been linking up. And also, I'm mentioning John Textor because did anyone see the news about Crystal Palace? Not been successful, have they, in getting him, I don't know what you call it, removed, postponed as a secondary owner for UEFA rules and how that works as well. So, yeah, just another one to keep an eye on. And Alejandro, you're combining the two now. I probably am, mate. If you want him in pronunciations, I am not your man at all. Sorry. But, yeah, there you go. The links between those two owners and how things are working in the Premier League. Couple of other just Premier League bits as well. Zabiani to PSG. They've made an offer. The Bournemouth centre-half, that's one to keep an eye on, we know. A few of you mentioned him in the chat panel. Yeah, a few Newcastle journalists that have said this, that João Pedro, the Brighton lad, is being looked at. They're getting defeated on a lot of their targets, Newcastle, at the moment. So it feels like maybe in a bad way for them, they're working down their list. So João Pedro from Brighton to Newcastle is one to keep an eye on. But the main two involve the North London clubs. If you look on the screen there, as per Fabrizio Romano about, 3-4 hours ago, Arsenal are in advancing in negotiations for Benjamin Sesko after initial concrete talks were reported last week. Discussions underway and they're proceeding well below all parties involved player and clubs. No agreement yet now or expected this weekend, but advancing. It's gone quiet on the Ocares one, hasn't it? It does seem, I have to be honest, it does seem like Benjamin Sesko, you predict, is going to end up as Arsenal's striker, which for us, I have to be honest, I'm not overly sad about. You never know what his ceiling is, and people will look at his raw attributes. But I look right now at Benjamin Sesko. Arteta's in trouble, and he needs to win now. He needs to win this season. He needs to win next season. Is Sesko going to be ready for that? Not for me personally. As Lee says there, Arsenal are welcome to him. Yeah, it's not one that I am at all sad about. I don't know if I'm sad about the other news coming out of North London. This has been the breaking news, hasn't it, in the last hour or so? Maybe no surprise. Ange Postecoglou has been sacked by Tottenham Hotspur. It isn't a surprise, really, isn't it? I mean, you could argue, and I get this argument, that won that trophy, brought Tottenham that success. How could you sack him? But when you see the league position, when you see the losses and everything that's happened, no, it makes sense, doesn't it? The only interesting thing for me is who's going to be his replacement, and names have started to develop, haven't they already? A few have linked Thomas Frank, Iraola at Bournemouth, so I'll be interested to see what happens there. But do you know what? Ange can stick with his quote, can't he? He can go out with his head held high, wins a trophy in his second season again. But honestly, 1,000,001 things going on in the Premier League right now.